Raced people can't do that. They can only speak for their race. But non-raced people can.
So he does make this divide between like people who think about race and people who don't think about race. And I conceptualize that as a byproduct of democracy. And I don't necessarily know how you can deal with that because democracy is like the best that we have. I mean, I don't know what you want to...
This isn't even true, because like if a white person talks about some issue that doesn't involve white people, what happens? They say, oh, how dare you speak of, you're a white person, how dare you speak of an issue outside your race, stay in your lane. So this is a completely untrue statement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he's saying race people can't speak about common humanity, which, first of all, what was that guy's name?
Yeah, Martin Luther King. Yeah, exactly.
Common humanity. Okay. But then he says non-race people can speak of a common humanity, for they don't represent the interests of a race, which is again bullshit, because whenever a white person speaks about race issues, or lack of race issues, they get criticized for either saying, oh, well, you can't talk about race issues because you're white, or how dare you talk about common humanity, you're white.
Yeah, you don't know
you're just trying
experience.
to get, yeah, you're just trying to dismiss the racialized experience of others.
So just to translate, he's got on the screen, raced people can do that. So black people can do that. They can only speak for their race. But
they can't
white
speak.
people...
He's saying black people can't speak, or the guy he's quoting says black people can't speak to common humanity. They can only speak in terms of their race, but the non-raced white people can speak of common humanity, and they don't represent the interest of their own white race, which again is literally the exact opposite of what's going on in woke world currently.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Go back to the drawing board on this one.
Maybe in 1997. This made sense, but not anymore.
That's an eternity ago. Come on.
Yep.
The interests of a race. Now, the greatest impact that this has is obviously upon those who are written out of the definition of what it means to be human.
Oh my God.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Is he talking?
I know. He's like, this guy who wrote this thing, this one thing.
Neanderthals?
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Come on, that was... That was like a billion years ago, Sitch. Get over it already.
When are we going to give back land to the Neanderthal people? Okay.
Well, first, we have to like clone them or something. I don't know.
When are we going to give land back to the Hobbit people? Didn't the Hobbit people live in Australia or something? We need to give back land to the Hobbit people that we took from them.
Well, very small land.
Very small amounts of land, yes.
Those who are considered to be human, but with qualifiers attached.
Wait, this is just bonkers. Like, who is doing this?
I don't. Well, let's find out. I'm curious.
The further consequence, however, is that in not seeing ourselves as white people are often allowed.
He doesn't tell us.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He can't do that.
He just quit.
Wait.
He gave up.
What?
Means to be human. Those who impact that this has is obviously upon those who are written out of the definition of what it means to be human. Those who are considered to be human, but with qualifiers attached. A further...
So we're like, okay, so you're going to explain that?
No. I don't... It just makes absolutely no sense to me, because I'm not... I thought I was raised, Sitch, not to put qualifiers on being human. Like, I don't look at a black person and think, oh, that's like an almost human being. It's like, no, that guy's a human.
Right, exactly.
The consequence, however, is that in not seeing ourselves as white people are often allowed to remain ignorant of the ways in which we benefit from being so. And it allows us to also remain ignorant of how we benefit from racist structures. Robin...
Oh, no. He's
so this is a problem,
D'Angelo.
Is that they want to have it both ways, because it's like you just spent the last 5 minutes talking about how race is a social construct and it was only created in order to have white people have power over other racial groups. And it's like, okay, well, so then the solution should be to get rid of the concept. And now he's like, but too many white people are trying to not think about race and try to ignore race and get rid of the concept. And all that does is help them maintain their white power.
I know.
It's like, well, you can't win. You can't fucking win.
It's so bad. It's so bad. And I don't even think he proposes a solution. Like, we're just supposed to meditate on this all day? Come on.
No, the solution is a quality of outcome. Okay, it has to be, you just have to have perfect racial breakdown. The racial breakdown of the country has to exist in every job, every facet of life. Otherwise, you're just racist.
I think that's bullshit. Well, it's also, I mean, who am I to say if there's a certain vocation that certain races or ethnicities or whatever, certain groups of people like to go after?
Look,
if goths like to work in bowling alleys, fucking let them work in bowling alleys, for God's sakes. We got enough bowling alleys for goth people.
Do you mean goth like goth music, or like the goths, like the people?
Either or, you pick. I like
Adam,
emo music at my bowling alleys anyway.
The real problem here, Adam, okay, is that 20% of all Nobel Prizes have been given to Jews, despite the fact that they only make up 1.6% of the population, Adam. There needs to be some racial equality here. We need to stop giving Nobel Prizes out to people on the basis of their achievements. We need to start doing it on the basis of their skin color, like a non-racist person.
Yeah, totally. I'm so glad you have Jewish privilege so we can actually talk about this stuff.
I know.
It's like, aren't Jews a minority, dude? Like, come on.
D'Angelo uses the term white fragility to refer to the reaction that many white people have when we're encouraged to recognize
the reaction many white people have when you go up and you spit in their fucking face.
I think we should coin the term female fragility. when you talk to a woman. No, I didn't.
You didn't? Oh my God.
Is that what you said? Am I just copying?
No, I said, why is no one talking about fat girl fragility?
There you go. No, but female fragility. You go up to a woman and she's complaining about some problem. And you're like, look, as a woman, you just have it better in society. Let me list off the privileges that are given to women that aren't given to men. And then when that woman gets very angry at you for the fact that you've just dismissed her feelings on the basis of her gender.
Yeah.
You just say, well, that's just more evidence the fact that you're just a woman who's privileged.
Sitch, that's not going to work. Like if you're planning on trying that with a romantic interest, I would highly dissuade you from doing that.
This is how I get all my girlfriends, Adam. I go up and I explain.
You do? You talk about female fragility?
I go up to them. I go up to a random woman. I'm like, hey, baby, let me tell you about all the privileges and powers that you have in society that you didn't fucking work for or deserve, that are invisible to you as you sit here drinking coffee in Starbucks. Okay?
You want to go out later?
Yeah. And then afterwards, how about you come back to my place and I can tell you some more.
I hate to say it, but that would probably actually work. Women like bad boys.
Recognize ourselves as white.
I want to film that, man. That's like the best opening scene ever. Like, protagonist walks out. Listen, bitch.
You go to Portland, Oregon.
Banging.
You go to City of Books, Adam. You go to City of Books in Portland, Oregon.
That shit ain't gonna work in Portland. It ain't gonna work in Portland.
Oh, it's gonna work.
New York City, that might work. Not gonna work in Portland.
It's gonna work in Antifa Central Portland. Are you kidding me? All the girls are like, "Oh, tell me about my privilege." Oh,
maybe, I don't know.
It's like the new form of BDSM.
Oh yeah.
Recognize the impact that this might have had on our lives. She argues that the mere suggestion that being white has meaning often triggers a range of defensive responses. These include emotions such as anger, fear, and guilt, and behaviours such as argumentation, silence, and withdrawal from the stress-inducing situation. These responses...
You just got called a racist, dude, in front of all the people you work with. Why would you feel angry?
It's so funny because she's like, when you call someone white, they get so angry. It's like, wait a minute, you cut out the part where you first established that like being white is an evil oppressor class.
Yeah, okay. Totally. Yeah. You've left out the part where you called everyone racist.
Work to reinstate white equilibrium as they repel the challenge. Return.
Especially what we just talked about a second ago about how we're like two generations that were raised on racism is bad. Like we're trying not to see race. And you're going to those people and calling them racist? Like they spent their whole lives trying not to be racist.
Well, again, it's you can only have it one way or the other.
Totally.
Part of another reason people are getting so mad is because they were also probably educated the same way we were. They were trying to deconstruct and get rid of the importance of race. And suddenly you're doing a 180 and you're like, fuck you. That's racist. And they're like, what are you talking about? That's not racist. That's the exact opposite of racist. You literally spent 5 minutes talking about how race is constructed socially to oppress other people. And we're trying to get rid of it. And you just keep fucking bringing it back.
Yeah. We're so close. We're so close.
We're so close. But no, talking about deconstructing race, well, that's just in order to maintain your dominance within the racial hierarchy.
We elected a black president. God damn it. We were so close.
Earn our racial comfort and maintain our dominance within the racial hierarchy. In recent weeks, several clips from documentaries featuring the anti-racist educator Jane Elliott have been circulating on social media. Elliot's blue-eyed...
Now, he completely misconstrues her research. You're familiar with her research, right? Oh, I think he mentions it a little bit here. We'll talk about it.
Brown eyes exercise works by dividing a group up by eye colour and treating them differently in order to open up a conversation about racism. Whether placed in the...
But inadvertently, she discovered that people will group around any old thing. Like race is just the easiest thing because it's the most obvious. But if you want to do it on hair color or eye color or height or sex or sports fan, Antifa or the Proud Boys, whatever you want to do it around. Like people will group into these us versus them teams quite readily. So it seems like it would be easy to group people around teams that were somehow pro-social instead of grouping them around race.
Right.
Since they so easily group, right?
The blue eye, for those that aren't familiar, well, maybe we'll let the clip play out because he explains the experiment.
Empowered group or the disempowered one, at least a portion of the white participants consistently react with the kind of responses which D'Angelo...
Okay, never mind. He completely fucking...
Yeah, he misses the whole fucking point. He misses the whole point.
Okay, so the experiment was that she would go into a classroom and she would separate people based on their eye color.
Right.
And then they would try to give people certain privileges based on their eye color.
Right.
And they would try to say oh, well, you can only interact and group with people of your own eye color. And they would do this for a week or a few days or something. And then they'd see how kids would start interacting with each other. And they would find out that oftentimes kids would kind of take that grouping beyond this classroom. They would sort of give it importance outside of this experiment. And the whole point of the fucking experiment is to show how innately tribal human beings are. It's this is the baseball field experiment that you used to talk about a lot. And they just show that humans desperately want to group themselves in some fashion and find an other to attack and to discriminate against. Yes. And that was the point of the study. But then he for no reason brings in this weird thing well, the white people who participated in this study.
Well, no, the oppressor, the I don't want to call him maybe she did structure it like the oppressor class. I can't remember. It seems like the people, she would pick arbitrary, and then one group would get massive privileges. You get to sit wherever you want and you have to sit in the back of the classroom. So she did definitely try to structure it like racism once was structured. But I don't know that those structures exist. And also just to touch on the grouping thing, I mean, it seems like the way around the racial categories is to have overlapping groups. And it seems like this happened with religion, because a lot of this, slaves adopted Christianity as their religion. And then once various whites were Christian and various slaves were Christian, then they had an overlapping group and they all of a sudden could empathize with them. That's how the Underground Railroad actually began.
So it says that she is considered to be the forerunner for diversity training in corporate America.
Who? This chick?
The
blue-eyed chick? Oh, that sucks.
The Jane Elliott.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be curious. I would hope that whatever diversity training that she was created in the 1980s, it was more about color blindness and not this new woke bullshit.
Yeah, maybe it was.